fighting very, very hard for this salary commission, and we have been in this struggle a long time together. And I am so pleased to have her here today with all of her support in all these years. I'd also mention on the Senate side, Judiciary Chair over the Senator Sampson right now, but in the past, Senator DeFrancisco, a big supporter of such a commission, and we so much appreciate the legislative support. Governor Paterson mentioned Chief Judge Kaye, and I cannot give her enough credit for what has gone on today and in the passage of this legislation. She was the person who proposed a quadrennial salary commission, I believe in 2006, if I'm not mistaken, and put so much of her efforts into getting that done. And I could tell you, after speaking to her this morning, and she can't be here today, that there is no one more ecstatic, thrilled, delighted by today's signing of this bill. And she deserves enormous credit and enormous gratitude from all of us for her leadership in this area. I want to thank the Governor's Counsel, Peter Cannon, for his skill as counsel and his support in relation to this particular legislation, which was crafted in counsel's office. I want to thank the bar associations, Steve Younger, our great state bar president, Sam Seymour, who's in the audience, the president of the city bar, all of the local bars for their letters, their calls. Truly a great constituency that the judiciary has supporting us. Victor Kovner, who you'll be hearing from, who has been a force for good government in this state for so many years, the Fund for Modern Courts, that together have really pushed this issue at the top of their agenda. And as the governor said, I think we did this, Governor, to get Victor to stop bothering us about this, right? This is why this was done. There could not be a more persistent supporter. And most of all, I want to thank the judiciary of this state, first of all, the justice system, with all of us, Cy Vance, the district attorney, Eric Schneiderman, the Attorney General-elect, the justice system pulled together on behalf of our fabulous judiciary in this state. And paramount, beyond anything else, I want to thank the judges of this state who have suffered for 12 years, and even now will wait till the raises kick in. Through it all, they have met their constitutional mission day in and day out in courtrooms around the state, and have performed like no other judiciary in this country. I salute them. They are a fabulous judiciary. This is a long overdue commitment that we all make to them today, and the raise that shortly, hopefully, will be a part of this, and the permanent solution to this problem is so richly deserved by our spectacular judges. The creation of this commission has always been the solution to this intractable problem, delinking us from the very appropriate political dialogue that goes on in the legislature, but delinking us, taking us out of that kind of, from the two policy-making political branches, and putting once and for all a rational, logical solution in place that will preserve the independence and integrity of the judiciary on into the future. The skies have brightened. The future is so bright for the judiciary to attract and retain the very best to the bench, and to produce the kind of strong, vibrant judiciary that the founders envisioned. I couldn't be more delighted about anything than to be here today at this signing ceremony. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Judge, and I hope that Noah Webster and Funkin Wagnalls will take note of a new word in the English language, delinking. That's a new word that we are using. He did note that Sam Seymour is with us today, President of the New York City Bar, and I spoke this morning to Attorney General-elect Eric Schneiderman, who sent his regrets. He's at the National Attorney General's Association meeting in Washington. I'll bet you didn't know there's a National Attorney General's organization. When I got into that office, I learned there's a National Lieutenant Governors Association. It was quite a morbid group. People sit around envisioning plane crashes and learning how to perform a fake Heimlich maneuver. So now...
Governor, I forgot that Presiding Justice Gonzalez, your appointment from the First Department, and Chief Administrative Judge Ann Fowle.
Now I see both of them. Judge Fowle and Justice Gonzalez, thank you for joining us this morning. And we're now going to hear from the Speaker of the New York State Assembly, Sheldon Silver, who worked very hard with the members to delink, to create a new word, and to create a new reform here in the state. This was not easy to do. You know, there are obviously a lot of feelings that legislators have. Legislators work very hard, contrary to how it is portrayed from time to time. And it took a lot to do this, and the Speaker got it done. And so we'll hear from him now, Speaker Sheldon Silver.
Thank you very much, Governor, for your kind words, and thank you for your leadership on certainly what is one very important matter. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge and to thank Chief Judge Lippman of our Court of Appeals and Victor Kovner, the Chairman of the Fund for Modern Courts, not only for getting together and helping to craft this legislation, but for their ongoing efforts to strengthen and enhance our state's unified court system. It is a monumental undertaking, and we truly appreciate your efforts. You know, I came to this job, most people don't know, from the courts. I served 5 years before being elected to the Assembly in the Civil Court of the City of New York as a law secretary to a judge when I was a relatively young man. I still am. That's why it's all relative. But much has been written over the years about the issue of judicial compensation, and particularly about the legislature's role in determining it. So I'm speaking for the Assembly majority, which includes our very talented chair of our Judiciary Committee, Eileen Weinstein. And I want to be very clear that the issue for us was never whether or not our judiciary deserved to be better compensated. We want and have always wanted the wisest and the most qualified jurists serving on the bench. And we believe and have always believed that the state of New York should have the finest court system in the nation. A highly qualified and independent judiciary, after all, is the cornerstone of our democratic system and guardian of the rights we hold so dear. In the past, we've worked with Chief Judge Lippman and his predecessor, the former Chief Judge Kaye, with the governor and with our colleagues in the Senate to find a way, on the one hand, to assure New York's judges compensation that is commensurate with the breadth of their responsibilities, and on the other, takes into account the reality of the state's finances. I believe that this bill that the legislature passed in ordinary session and that the governor will sign momentarily, we hope, accomplishes both goals. And I hope it will signal to the men and women who serve in our judiciary how much we recognize and appreciate the challenges that they are facing and the outstanding work that they do. And speaking of outstanding work, I again want to commend Assemblymember Eileen Weinstein, who, contrary to most thoughts, I didn't kick her or anything like that. She just decided to go visit the medical profession at the wrong time of the year. But she has performed just admirably in relating to the judiciary of our state and supporting the role of the judiciary in our state. So in closing, I am delighted that we were able to reach agreement on this legislation. I'm pleased to be here this morning to witness the governor's enactment of it, and I salute the governor for his leadership on this, and most importantly, former Chief Judge Kaye and Chief Judge Lippman, who have done outstanding work in letting everybody in this state know the plight of the judiciary when it comes to compensation. So thank you very much for having me at this momentous occasion. And Cy, I want to respond to your letter. We did it. Thank you.
There was a complete unanimity of agreement throughout the bar that there had to be something done about judicial compensation, and much of this was led by Steve Younger as president of the New York State Bar Association. We'll hear from him now.
Thank you, Governor. On behalf of the entire Bar of New York, I just want to say what a real privilege this is to be here for this historic moment. Today, New York joins at least 24 other states to have a Judicial Compensation Commission. And we applaud the governor for putting forth this bill. We commend the legislature for this landmark legislation. And we thank Chief Judge Lippman for his tireless advocacy on behalf of judicial independence, because this is really about judicial independence. I also want to thank my good friend Victor Kovner for our partnership with the Fund for Modern Courts. They're calling it, some people say, Victor's bill. But I think in truth, it's everyone's bill, and it's on behalf of the entire judiciary. As you know, for over a decade, our judges have worked tirelessly without a pay raise. And in truth, they've had a pay decrease because they haven't even had an adjustment for inflation. So with the signing of this bill, we now have a permanent mechanism which will fix this problem. It will depoliticize an issue which should not be politicized. And in a difficult economy, we all know how difficult it is, our judges are facing more and more cases, more and more work, and this will recognize at long last, and hopefully we won't have to come with busloads of judges to Albany anymore. We have a permanent mechanism to fix this problem. For our judges, this means they can pursue a career in public service. That's a wonderful, lofty ideal without having to worry about sacrificing for their families. For our citizens of New York, it means retaining a diverse and exceptional judiciary, which I know this governor has been very, very committed to, and giving us the highest level of justice in our state. So the creation of this commission is truly an extraordinary event for all New Yorkers, and we urge the swift implementation of this commission so that our judges can finally receive the pay raises they deserve. I just want to give my personal thanks to the governor, to his counsel, Peter Kiernan, because I know how hard this was, and you worked so hard on this. And this is truly a watershed event for our judiciary, so we really appreciate you having us here today. Thank you, Governor.